So for evidence-based commentary, I gave you 4 points because I definitely think, well, mainly they're the same thing except for consistently explaining how the evidence supports your line of reasoning, and I think that having 4 hows and whys to go along with each one of them is definitely consistently explaining how you're supporting your line of reasoning, and as well as all of the reasons for a 4. Let's see. There are some cases. There's one case where I think you could have included a little more why, specifically in your 3rd paragraph right here, where you talk about how he brings up their corruption within their business, and I think it's really cool that you noticed that and you saw how they are, that they are based on their success. Like, they want to keep their success, and that's why they are like turning away from helping the Americans, and they're helping themselves. I think that was really good that you noticed. Something I was a little think could have been like more there was like how this impacts the steel companies to change their decision. Like, you state that he exposes their corruption, but you don't really say how that impacts the steel companies. Like, now everyone knows that that's their success, that's the reason why they are keeping these steel prices up, but you don't really say what that turns them to do. Like, you could say that makes them feel guilty of what they've done, and they're more likely to change because of that emotion that they feel, or something on the lines of that. Back to the rubric. So, I totally think you integrate all the evidence you need to support your claim, and you have multiple supporting claims, and I can see your interpretation of the passage. I think you hit all of those notes. Some of the things I really, really like about your passage is where you talk about how he makes the American people see the steel companies as another enemy during this time, which we know, like, it's time where they have enemies in the Vietnam War, and I really like how you said that, and we'll get more into that for the sophistication point. I also like how you covered different reasons that they would change. Like, for example, you bring up how the Americans are pressing them in the first paragraph, how you say that now the whole American people are making this fight impossible because they're against the government and the American people. I really like that. I think that was a strong argument. I like how you kept your line of reasoning. That is definitely in the points in the rubric. How you say he begins his speech by, and then, I love how you say, now with the American people behind him, he does this to the steel companies. Oh, and you say how their justification and their method behind this. I think you really lay this out wonderfully. only thing I could say to improve this would be, I think this first paragraph is wonderful. It's perfect. Apart from that, it's a little confusing in the first two sentences when you say that he establishes his adverse effects that the rise in steel prices has caused, and then you say Kennedy begins his speech by. I just think that it would be stronger to start off with Kennedy begins his speech by attacking the nation's largest steel companies. That just sounds better than JFK establishes. I think Kennedy begins is a more clearer line of reasoning, and you just switch that with the first sentence that you said. I also think that the effects would make a better how than a what. And then I know you repeated the word attacking. Maybe you could say like targeting, or just like describing. I don't know, something maybe less harsh than attacking. It might sound a little informal. And then also, you use a pretty long quote here, which it definitely establishes your point, but I think you could get away with only using your own words to say that we are, like, all the American people are supposed to be devoting their energies to economic recovery and stability. I think you could have just quoted that and save more room for your why. That's all for that paragraph. For this paragraph, like I said, I would just increase the why on this part here. I really like your hows here, and I love your what. I think it's good. That he's criticizing them. I just wonder if there's a better word than criticize. Like, maybe use a mode like you used comparison and effect. I'm not sure, but you still get the 4 points with it, so if you can't think of anything else, just keep using it. I love your last sentence. I think it's very strong and it establishes your point. I think other than that, that's all I have to say about that.